The Koala Count Challenge that we've been working on in collaboration with the New South Wales government, the whole plan was to try and prove a better methodology for conducting koala surveys using the Vayu HD as the high resolution thermal camera. So the current methodology has a few drawbacks. It relies on a spotlight and a color camera too. So you detect an animal with low resolution thermal, which is just like a hotspot on the video feed, so you can't really tell what it is. And then you go do a close inspection with the drone, spotlight on, and see if it's a koala or not. The idea was we can minimize that impact and do these surveys a lot more quickly with a high resolution thermal camera. So the whole project was trying to collect a lot of example data, different flight altitudes, camera angles. That was one of the things we had to test. So we didn't know what was going to be the best camera angle. We kind of went into it a little bit biased, thinking that looking straight down would be the best. But it turned out it wasn't. The first week of operation that we did was really just varying everything and collecting as much data as we could with different camera angles and flight altitudes and all of that. And we ended up with the idea of settling on a select few to use for the rest of the 8 weeks of flights. 60 degrees from looking at the horizon, so 30 degrees off. That actually seemed to get us the best view through the canopy, so you could see koalas in the tree trunks, in like, you know, the branches of the tree. The whole plan was to test that and compare that to the traditional methodology. So we also flew each night with a spotlight and a low resolution thermal camera and compared the imagery directly. I mean, the imagery is definitely better in some regards with the high resolution thermal, obviously. The whole plan was with that first mode I was talking about, it was designed to have like 3 times the pixel density of the traditional methodology to be theoretically sufficient to detect and classify koalas just with thermal. But in practice, we kind of found it was still pretty hard. The other benefit of using the spotlight, I guess, is that you have more time and you can kind of look at the koalas from different angles, which you just don't have from just a flight. Like, we just followed a pre-planned flight path with the high resolution thermal. So the downside was, I guess in short, the downside is that we couldn't classify koalas as reliably, but we definitely spotted them all reliably. Like, we saw every single hotspot, and we labeled them like we did an independent review to say, you know, this is an animal, and this is the species we think it is. A decent proportion of them we couldn't tell were koalas, but we could tell that they were animals. We're kind of proposing a hybrid approach for the future, where we do close inspection on a selection of the animals that we detect, which still has the benefit of you cover a really large area, and then you can go and get that confidence that you need for a selection of the animals and then extrapolate the population from that. Or alternatively, it looks like we did some initial testing with machine learning and just trying to classify from that, because there's a lot of pixels there, and a human reviewer is not very good at, I think, like on you know, looking at a single hotspot, it's not too hard. Like, you can really look in there and try and like dig into it and figure out what species it is. But you know, there were thousands of animals that we saw. So it just wasn't feasible for us to do it as well as algorithm would hopefully be able to do. And from the initial stuff we've looked at, and it was included in our literature review and all of that, that's definitely the way that we'd want to go. I think probably some of the basic stuff would be, don't go into it assuming you'll have all the features that you're used to with other payloads. Like, this is obviously a device that's designed not just for drones, it can be used in a variety of situations. And, you know, a lot of the other drone-based thermal sensors are mass-produced and fine-tuned and limited. Like, you know, you have restricted features to make it simple for the user. And in this case, like, it was, we could do anything we wanted, and that made it hard in a lot of ways. Sure. Probably the best place is LinkedIn, but we're also on Facebook and X and YouTube. Just search for Ninox Robotics, and yeah, it will be the first one that comes up. Also our website has plenty of information and some examples as well.